Yes, it was.
Personnel items will be later on in the meeting. That ends my report.
Thank you, Ms. Boykin. Policy, Ms. Cynthia Shane is the chair of our policy committee, and I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Shane. Ms. Shane?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Board of Education has completed the board policy customization process, and I'd like to thank each and every one of our board members for their participation. And we were able to, our goal was to try and get this accomplished and completed by the end of the year. And so, happy New Year to all of us because of that. The new policy board manual will be reviewed and placed on the agenda for the board adoption at an upcoming meeting. Final updates based on press issue 117 are attached for board review. And actually, Dr. Hill copied all of the draft updates for the policy so that we can review them. So thank you very much, Dr. Hill. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Negotiations. We have our negotiations chair, that's Mrs. Loretta Wells. We'll turn it over to Ms. Wells at this time. Ms. Wells?
Thank you, Madam President. Just a reminder, we will have our first negotiation meeting with DA on Thursday, January 23rd at 6 o'clock at Madison School. Yes, so please mark the calendar.
Six o'clock. Thank you. We also have a goals committee, and Ms. Michelle Turner is the chair of our goals committee, and I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Turner at this time. Ms. Turner?
I don't think there's an appointment.
Okay. And we do have our board goals, Ms. Turner. We did do our board goals.
Okay, so did we, what did
The board voted on them.
Okay.
So the completion of the policy customization was one of
is
those
one of them.
key goals.
Yes.
So
Right.
that is one that is now complete.
Complete.
Just pending the board adoption of that.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Is that complete? Okay, very good. Curriculum and Technology, Cynthia Shane is the chair of our Curriculum and Technology Committee, and I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Shane at this time. Ms. Shane?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Barner or Ms. Fred?
Mr. Rump.
Right.
Everybody's trying to use up those vacation days that
Yes.
they will lose if they don't use them up. So, just so that you know, we have intercession that will be taking place this week, beginning tomorrow. So Tuesday through Friday is our intercession programs. Then staff will be back on Monday of next week, the 13th, for Teacher Institute Day. And then the students will return on the 14th. And just also on January 17th, that Friday will be Parent-Teacher Conference Day. So we've got a lot going on. January is very, very busy.
Thank you.
No, that concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We also have the IAS Governing Board, and Ms. Shane is our representative for that. Ms. Shane?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have nothing to report at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scope, Ms. Corinne Davis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's upcoming dates. There's a lame duck session. It's scheduled to begin on Saturday, January 4th, 2025. Tentatively adjourned on Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. ISBE Assessment and Accountability Listening Tours, February 3rd, South Cliff Intermediate Service Center.
That is our local area.
That's
the
right.
one I will be attending.
Okay.
So just so that you are aware, there will be, they plan on making some updates and changes to the assessment and accountability plan for the state of Illinois. And that's where we're supposed to hear about some of what they're talking about.
Okay.
Before they do an adoption and send that information to the federal government. So,
Very good. Dr. Hill, are we invited to those? Are you listening to us?
Yes, yeah, if you would like to attend, you
Okay.
could go to any of those.
Yes, I got
Whether at the South Cook Intermediate Service Center or any of these, there's a link that you could
Okay.
click on to register. So
Okay.
absolutely, they like to have multiple people. I'm just making sure, of course, I'm those. who
Exactly.
go back
Okay.
to our district.
And Ms. Shane, you said you registered?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
I won't be.
Okay.
The South Cook one is the one in our area.
That's it, that's our
Yes.
intermediate service center. Yeah, that's February 3rd. So what date that is.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you. And that February 3rd is in fact a Monday. Okay. Thank you. Agenda item 6, moving right along. Upcoming meetings and events. I'd like to turn this over to our board secretary, Cynthia Shane. Ms. Shane.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excuse me. Upcoming meetings and events. Monday, today, our regular board meeting at 7 o'clock. Tuesday, January 10th, intercession instruction. Tuesday through Friday, January 7th through the 10th. Monday, January 13th, Institute Day, no school. Friday, January 17th, parent-teacher conferences, no school. Monday, January 20th, Martin Luther King Day, no school. Thursday, January 23rd, negotiation meeting, 6 p.m. Madison School. Monday, February 3rd, Committee of the Whole, 6:30, and the Eisenhower School. And Monday, February 3rd, the regular board meeting, again at Eisenhower at 7 o'clock. And that concludes my report for upcoming meetings and events.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Okay. Agenda item 7, communications and correspondence, is also handled by our board secretary. Again, I'll turn this over to our board secretary, Cynthia Shane. Ms. Shane.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 2 pieces of correspondence from UNICEF. Mine is a terrible thing to waste, and they're thanking us as their friend and supporter on behalf of the 60,000 students whose education UNICEF support every year. Thank you in South Holland School District for your recent contribution of $1,000 to UNICEF United Negro College Fund in support of South Suburban Chicago workplace. To the individual students who will benefit from your generosity, this contribution may make the difference between being able to graduate from college and having to end their education without a college degree. To our communities and to our country, your contribution will be a step towards working our way out of the recession. Our communities need teachers, interpreters, doctors, and nurses. Our country needs scientists, engineers, managers, and public servants. Each of these careers requires at least a college degree just to get started. But while a college education is more important than ever, the cost of college continues to increase, even as families' incomes are, at best, remaining at present levels. Your contribution helps UNICEF make up the difference. It helps us provide the financial assistance students need to attend college, to stay until they graduate, and to get an education and prepares them for careers of success and service. Students who need to get a college education and employers who need college-educated employees look to UNICEF, and UNICEF looks to the supporters like you. I thank you and I thank you and South Holland School District for stepping forward to help and for helping all of us live up to the ideal expressed in UNICEF motto, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Michael L. Lomax, PhD, President and CEO. All right,
Thank you.
From the Illinois Board of Education, dear Superintendent Hill, I want to extend my sincere appreciation for your efforts to focus on continuous school improvement, which have been instrumental in increasing student achievement in your schools. We are honored to recognize you for your hard work and dedication to our students. Congratulations on your accomplishments and ongoing commitment to continuous school improvement. Please accept the enclosed certificate of recognition to memorize your accomplishments. Dr. Tony Sanders, State Superintendent of Education. And we have 2 certificates, one's for Coolidge and one's for Taft.
This is for Coolidge. Oh. You want to read these?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one for Taft, this certificate is presented to Taft School in recognition of improving our annual summative designation from 2023 to 2024. Your hard work, dedication, and focus on continuous school improvement has been instrumental in your success, and we are honored to recognize your accomplishments. And that's for Taft. The second one is for Coolidge. This certificate is presented to Coolidge Middle School in recognition of improving your annual summative designation from 2023 to 24. Your hard work, dedication, and focus on continuous school improvement has been instrumental in your success. We are honored to recognize your accomplishments. And this one is for Coolidge. And that concludes my report. Thank you,
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair.
Let's pass these certificates around so everyone will get a chance to see the good work that our school district has done. We'll get it around to you, Ms. Davis, after they see it. Well, congratulations, Dr. Hill, to be commended. Thank you so much.
Yes,
That's for
awesome.
Coolidge and Taft. Wonderful. Okay. Okay, we have, next up, agenda item 8 is our enrollment report. Ms. Turner, would you be so kind as to share the enrollment with us, please?
Yes. Good evening. The enrollment report for the end of the month. Coolidge had 462 students. Eisenhower had 273 students. Madison had 280 students. Taft Pre-K had 327 students, which is a grand total of 1,342 students.
Thank you.
That's the end of mine.
Thank you. Any questions, board members? If not, we'll move to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 9, personnel. We'll turn this over to Ms. Joda Boykin, who's the chair of our Personnel and Awards and Public Relations Committee. Ms. Boykin?
Thank you. Okay, for employment, we have Cole Robinson, paraprofessional, Eisenhower, effective December 9th, 2024. I'd like to make a motion that we accept Cole Robinson for employment.
So moved.
Second. Okay.
Second.
Oh. We got seconds all around. But Ms. Davis did make the motion. Who are we giving it to? Give it to Mr. Clark? Okay. Mr. Clark, second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Boykin,
Yes.
Mrs. Burton,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Shane,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells.
Yes.
Okay, for retirement, we have Betty Reed Williams, paraprofessional at Coolidge, retirement date effective January 31st of 2025. I'd like to make a recommendation that we accept this retirement request.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Ms. Davis, second by Ms. Shane. Roll call, please.
Ms. Boykin,
Yes.
Mrs. Burton,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Shane,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 9B, abatement of supplemental levy created by Public Act 102-0519. Dr. Hill, will you share with us?
Yes, so the board has made a habit of abating those supplemental levies that are created by this law, which would pass along the taxes of businesses that appeal to other taxpayers, homeowners in our area. And so the board has the ability and option to abate those levies. We did this initially back in December, but with additional information that amount has changed. And so this resolution would abate that full supplemental levy to ensure that those costs are not passed on to our taxpayers.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, any questions, board members? May I have a motion to adopt the resolution for the abatement of supplemental levy created by Public Act 102-0519?
So,
Second.
Moved by Ms. Shane, second by Ms. Davis. Roll call, please.
Ms. Boykin,
Yes.
Mrs. Burton,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Shane,
yes.
Mrs. Turner, Mrs. Wells.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is information. We have Jim Macheski, he's the district architect. He's going to present drawings for the renovation of the second floor of Coolidge Middle School building into a fine arts and STEM space for current and future students. So we have the information here. He's going to share with us.
So, so Jim is here. What you're going to see tonight reflects really the overall planning for the kinds of spaces that we would like to have included in that second floor renovation. Jim will kind of orient you to where this is in the building, but this is the old part of Coolidge Middle School on that second floor. When the original renovations were done and the addition was added, that portion was left essentially untouched.
Okay.
And so, and that was years ago, right before I came. And so we started talking at that time about how it could be used and really wanting to ensure that if we, when we got around to doing that part of Coolidge, that it would be for the purpose of being able to add what we're able to do for our students. So what we will be presented is basically that this will be a fine arts and STEM area. There will be several unique spaces that are designed to continue to build on what we've been doing in the fine arts with Mr. Moody and all of our fine arts staff and our STEM staff, and making sure that we have spaces for things like theater, the dance, the orchestra, etc.
Yes.
So this is on the agenda as an informational item because the board thankfully, approved the plan for us to move in this direction. Then we will be bringing back to you every time there is a bid process and everything in moving in this direction, and once the drawings and everything are finalized. But this should give you a good overview of what we'll be able to do with that space for our students. So I'll turn it over to Jim, who has been doing this with us. Well, we started
for a while.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while,
You have, yeah.
helping to support what we are able to do in the
Although,
district.
good evening, board. And
Good
thank you
evening.
for having me here this evening. This is a very exciting project. Anytime that we can be involved in a project that involves these types of spaces, it sort of gets the creative juices going. It's very exciting. When you reference the old part of Coolidge, that's true. I wasn't around for all of this, but 1933 was the original building. And part of the space we're talking about was originally a gymnasium in the center of the old 1933 section of the building. And then back in 1978, an intermediate floor level was put in, cutting the gym in half, and then upstairs was the media center, and there was some classroom spaces. Downstairs is the band room and the choir room, just to kind of orient you to where that is. And now we're, again, talking about that second floor that's been left largely unused. So what we're referring to this red shaded area of Coolidge. This was the two-story addition that was added back earlier in 20, I guess our project number's in 2010. And then the atrium space that everybody's familiar with. There's been a lot of meetings in that atrium space. That's right in the middle. So this red shaded area, second floor, is what we're talking about for proposed project development area. And the types of spaces that we are looking at are a black box theater that would allow for a variety of different performance type activities. Could be musical performance, it could be a talk that somebody gives with multimedia support, it could be a dance performance, a variety of different types of events that can occur. We also want a dance rehearsal space, a studio space in here that would allow for that performance activity to be studied and enhanced. A digital studio and editing classroom, a space that would allow for, podcasting, would allow for manipulating the digital content that's going to be created as different events are housed in the theater, that they could be recorded and that video could be distributed throughout. A STEM maker space that would be developed. A dedicated space for the strings orchestra that they are sharing space now. It would be nice to give them dedicated rehearsal space. And then office and support spaces to assist in all of this functioning correctly. So this next drawing is an overview of that second floor, and to orient you to this, the top is north. So this area, this is that what I showed as the red shaded area. This is the second floor of Coolidge. Down at the bottom, it's not fully visible here, but this is the atrium space, just in a location in the building, and then there's an elevator up to the second floor, and there's a corridor that brings you into this section of the building, just to give you an orientation. So what we're proposing, the primary performance space, the theater space, would be in the center, in this red shaded area. That occupies what was the former library space. The dance studio would be developed on the west side here. We would have some office support space for fine arts, the academic staff. The maker space would be developed here in this yellow area. And then right above that, there's a recording space for different events. It could be a podcast, it could be simulated news event, it could be some other type of small performance that's recorded, and then a space where that's monitored, and then editing space for all that content that's created. We'll have space for that. The maker space would allow for a variety of activities. It could be 3D printing, it could be robotics, it could be all types of creative activity. The green area would be developed for a string orchestra practice space and instrument storage space for them. And then all the areas around that exist up here would be support spaces. The bathrooms would be refinished. So I kind of made a list to be new HVAC, heating, ventilating, air conditioning, lighting, and of course in the theater space that'll be quite intense. That'll be theatrical lighting to support the activities there, plumbing, new finishes throughout all that area, and then a high degree of data and low voltage to support all the activity that's being contemplated. This is a 3D view. So again, north is sort of up to the left here. This is the atrium space that we referenced. So as you come up across this corridor, and just to give you an idea, the dance studio again here on the west edge, the theaters in the center. We have the maker space, the digital studio, string orchestra space. And I'm going to just focus in on the theater to show you a couple of images. So when this, if you can envision this as an old gymnasium in the middle of the building. There were big roof trusses that came across. Those are still visible in the library space. If you go up there now, they're painted yellow. So we intend to create this sort of theater in the round here. There'll be a digital wall on the far side that will allow for multimedia content to be displayed. The seating would be flexible so that we can collapse this if we have an event that we need to make more space. And there'll be a raised platform stage in the middle that could even be taken apart so that we have the complete flexibility to use this for a variety of performances. It's not fully depicted in renderings yet, but we have all the theatrical lighting will be suspended up above in this truss space to light the performance area. And then behind this, there's a small green room dressing area space, an assembly space for performers to gather and come out.
Will the H-beam stay?
Remember that massively expensive if we had to let it charge. But they'll be black.
Yeah, correct. The theater itself, largely, if you've seen these, it's meant to focus on the performance. So it'll be, the ceiling will be painted black, the trusses, the wall surfaces, right? So it's really honed in on the focus of the performance. It's a smaller venue space, so as we talk about the types, it's a little bit more of a quaint theater feel than a big, auditorium feel.
What is the city capacity?
I think our last count, we were targeting about 75.
Will the walls be soundproof?
The walls?
Will the roof, will each
Yeah, we'll
wall
have
be soundproof?
acoustical control with wall panels and most likely some drapery which will also be flat. I'll toggle back through, then if you want me to go back, I can. The STEM maker space, which is just to the east of the theater space, the goal there is to have a space with storage for the different equipment that would be used, flexible furniture that can be moved around. We're looking at opening up some glass into the corridor so that what's happening in this space can be viewed by students as they're in that wing of the building. So it'll give a great degree of visibility to the program and the activity that's occurring. Again, the goal is to open up curiosity and pathway for students so that they see these things and they want to explore them, that you're expanding the educational offering. That's the whole point. This is a view from the other side, again, with glass to the corridor. Just enough storage space for all the supplies that are used for the different activities. There'll be flexible power, power arrangement, power devices that will allow us to move around and have the different activities. So the room can be set up for what's going on in any given part of the curriculum. The dance studio, this doesn't really do it justice, but the dance studio would have mirrors on the perimeter walls. This is the correct. And on the west face, there's glass. So I can imagine, depending on what's going on here, we would have some also some curtains that could close this off. But again, it's meant as a rehearsal space, but it could also be used for smaller performance if there were a dance recital that was thought about. We do have shown operable wall so that we can divide that into two spaces. So if there are two smaller type rehearsals going on, we would have the flexibility to do that as well. Again, the goal would be to get the mirror on as much surface as we could on the perimeter, and then on the side where it's window wall, we would have just the flexibility of it being open or closed off. Again, where we can, we're going to try to sneak in some glass to the corridor, so that again we want what's happening in that space to be a attractive feature that students would see and understand that that's an opportunity that they could pursue. The string rehearsal space Again, we're just starting to develop this, but again, the room itself, we would seek to enhance it with acoustical panels. One of the things that we're working on, this would be instrument storage to the far end, but we are working on the incorporation of like the ability to get messaging or imagery into those acoustical panels so that you can start to enhance it. This space wants to focus on the performance related side of what's being taught and what's being experienced there. So we envision those wall panels being imprinted with images of either student performances or other performers that students want to emulate that could be integrated into the space.
With regard to that orchestra studio, will you be having conversation with the music director?
Yes.
On the layout?
Yes, that's already happened.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The editing space, again, is just meant to be flexible. We'll have some computer stations that could be built in and then flexible furniture so that it could be manipulated, space for staff to occupy, and then storage for different content. It's hard to depict yet, but we would have a green screen in that podcast space, and then there'd be a sort of a production area so that whoever's running the recording and the filming would be on one side, and then the recorded party would be on the opposite, and we would have a green screen, and then the ability to even clip that off with a curtain so that you can have different setups for different types of recorded activity that's going on. A lot of these activities you're doing already in different buildings, different parts of your curriculum, even at a club level. And so again, it's to be intentional about bringing a space that's dedicated for students to pursue this in a structured fashion so that you're able to push it to new heights. This is just that same 3D. North is now at the bottom right, but again, the theater would be in the middle. This dance rehearsal space here. There'll be some changing rooms built in here. This wasn't that office space I talked about. We also have the ability to sort of double duty some space here with a ticket window. So it might be a little easier pathwise for you to envision. If you're down in the atrium, you can take the elevator or the stairs up to the second floor, and you would come across, enter into this, and there would be a ticketing type window here, and the ability to come right into the theater space here, or potentially into the dance studio if that were the case. So it gives you some flexibility in using the various areas.
So the changing room, will it have lockers or anything provided?
Oh, we didn't talk about lockers yet. There could be change lockers that are put there with relative ease. Just the smaller change locker that performers would use to just temporarily put some things or some effects. And this back area here. So if you remember the library space being in there, it's a couple of steps down from the corridor. If you recall that, so the corridor levels here, and I think it's maybe 2 steps down into this space. So we are going to have a ramp down at this side to come in, and then same thing at sort of backstage. There'll be a ramp coming in for performers. They'll be able to use sort of back of house areas on this side, and then enter in and come down, and then come out into the theater space. So it'll be flexible for that. We also have talked about the use of digital displays in some of the common areas, so that depending on what's going on or what's being promoted, that could be displayed in some of the corridors throughout the building and your other multimedia setups. So a lot of flexibility and how it could be adapted for use. Some of the other areas be used for storage for different components. So those areas are necessary. So if I'm not pointing it out, there's still space that's very purposeful. Storage is not necessarily, it's needed, but not necessarily glamorous. So I can go back if you want. I'll finish up with, this was the budget that was in the capital plan that we had looked at previously. Feel like that's a good figure for what we're talking about. There is a lot, as I mentioned, a lot of multimedia, low voltage data that goes into this space. We are, with your consent, we'll be proceeding, looking to start a bidding process in April and bringing that information back to the board for consideration and approval. And then construction could commence this summer with the goal of it being completed by May of '26, so that at the start of the fall session, the space would be available. I did miss one space that I would like to point out just briefly, because it's another skill set that's really, I think, something that would fall in line with this type of space and what students would maybe experience. If they're not performing, there's still an incredible amount of behind-the-scenes effort that goes into any performance, from a lighting standpoint, from a sound standpoint.
Technicians.
Right, so the technical side of it is huge, and the education of students to run the performance, that would also be integrated in. And there's a space there now was formerly like a tech space, but that's going to be repurposed as a control area for the theater, and that's a big aspect of what we discussed from Dr. Hill's standpoint, that we're looking to integrate that type of skill set into this fine arts curriculum.
Absolutely. I like this because this is a true STEAM program. Science, technology, engineering, arts. And math. So it's STEAM, definitely. Oh, that's beautiful. Dr. Hill, that Maker Lab, if you can go back, Jim, to the Maker Lab. The space, yeah. I don't know if we've talked with Dr. Anna Helwig from South Suburban College.
We have not as of yet.
Okay.
We know that that is one connection that we need to make.
Absolutely.
We also did speak with Mr. Aurelius Raines from the
Griffin Museum of Science
and Industry.
Yes.
They also have a program where they assist schools with creating maker spaces, including loaning some of the equipment. So we have looked into and have even worked toward purchasing, 3D printers and things like that. But this would be a space to really move our kids into being able to experience all of those.
Some of the things they can make, you would not believe it.
Exactly.
You would not believe it. It's phenomenal.
So I mean, this really would be, it would make us able to really move forward with all of the things we've been doing. Over the last several years, we've been moving forward with what we're able to offer with extracurriculars, with arts, our performances, moving into dance, the orchestra, all of those kinds of things. This really takes that to the next level and allows us to fully develop that, not only after school and Saturdays through our partnership with VMAA, but also to bring more of that into our everyday curriculum, both at the middle school, every day during the week, but then also even for our younger students in the afternoons or evenings, on the weekends, etc. So the goal would be that this space would provide those opportunities to all of our kids throughout the district and allow them to build that up. So I believe, and I know Mr. Moody can probably speak to this, this would put us ahead of almost any other elementary school district in this area. and would allow us to provide for our students something that many children can only get if they're going to a private school
That's right.
or a magnet school. So, Mr. Moody, do you want to, is there anything you would like to share about?
Is this your vision?
This is a shared vision, and honestly,
Yes.
I would say that Dr. Hill has been a visionary in pushing the envelope for the past few years
Yes.
of how we can provide more for our kids. And so we've been working in concert for the past 6 years with VMA
Yes.
of how to build it. And over the summer, we really saw growth, not only with our Coolidge students, because as you guys know, they've traveled for the past maybe 10 or 12 years,
That's right.
but our students at Taft and Eisenhower
Yeah.
have really taken advantage of the summer and the Saturday program. And so, just like you saw at the concert, we're trying to go younger, give them more exposure, so by the time they come to the middle school level, these kids are doing things that the high school don't even do.
Right.
And so it's kind of building for the next 5 or 10 years.
Oh, what a
Julie,
beautiful blessing for the
And
new
that's
year.
kind of my question, we're not missing anything.
No,
That's my question.
no.
Honestly, this is just, as you said, probably one of the most innovative programs that I've seen. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen any. At the elementary, middle school level, even friends that have heard about things that we're doing, they're saying, what are you guys doing in 151?
Yes.
Because we're doing such things at a higher level now.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years, we're going to be off the charts. So.
We don't want to brag, but, but.
Yeah, I mean, it will allow us to really push the envelope in a lot of different ways.
Good.
We know that there is research out there that talks about the ways in which children experiencing and studying the arts helps them
Yes,
in every
right.
other area of their life,
Yes.
including their academics and in reading and math. But it allows them to build their confidence, their ability to stand up for themselves, their ability to plan things out. And then the way this also incorporates them being exposed to various different careers, from the STEM makerspace to the video editing, to podcasting. All of those kinds of things are things that many times children in areas like ours don't get exposure to
Right.
at all.
Right.
And if they do, it is much later than other children.
Right.
And so other children go to college well ahead of our students because they've been doing it since they were in 4th or 5th grade.
Exactly.
This allows us to move into that area, using, the funds that this board has been very good about, stewarding and setting aside,
Right.
and allowing us to really move in that direction. I know Mr. Moody has been working with all of our fine arts staff, and so we're continuing to build them up. We know that as we moved into this, we would be looking at, of our staff, who can do some of these different things. There may be opportunities for us to bring in, artists in residence, bring in others that can come in and teach, mini classes or things like that, in addition to people that we can have on staff.
Yes.
So this really allows us to take all these things we've been trying to do and kind of really push it forward in a very meaningful way. And I'm excited that, pending the board, letting us move forward with this, as soon as that 2026-27 school year, we could be having children using these spaces. So very, very exciting. It's been something we've been working on for a long time.
Good.
Mr.
Yes, we have.
You mentioned, you said that Coolidge and Eisenhower. Could you?
Oh, Taft.
Oh,
Right,
is
so
it?
as of right now, we actually introduced our Tiny Tutus dance class, and so now we have kids in pre-K 3 and 4 that are taking dance classes now. Eventually, we'll offer classes on weekends as well as evenings, because we understand some parents can't make it on Saturdays. So making this space more available for the community so they can kind of have a first-class education.
It's possible to make you get a copy of this because I'd
Yes.
like to have it.
See, he'll make sure we all get it. Any other questions for Mr. Macheski?
Very excited. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so
excited.
much. I am too. This was wonderful.
Yeah, so we will keep you up to date as things go along. Once we get to that step of getting the RFPs out and getting bids in. Of course, each of those will come back to the board, and we will keep you abreast of where we are with the costs, making sure we're within the budget and all of that kind of thing, and then any, additions or updates or things like that.
Good.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Okay, moving right along. Agenda item 9D, approval of application for the 2024 school bus rebate program by first student. Okay.
Yes, so we are recommending that the board approve this. It will authorize first student to apply for the grant for electric school buses in our name and allow us to hopefully move forward with adding additional electric school buses to the fleet.
Up to 10 buses.
Up to 10. Oh, good.
And if you remember, those electric school buses are the ones with the air conditioning.
Oh, yes, definitely.
We definitely want to
Definitely.
move forward with that if at all possible.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve the application for the 2024 Clean School Bus Rebate Program by first student.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Who am I giving? Wait. Okay, we give it to Ms. Boykin. Moved by Ms. Boykin, second by Ms. Davis. Roll call, please.
Ms. Boykin?
Yes.
Mrs. Burton?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Shane?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner?
Yes.
Mrs. Wood?
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes. Yes.
I would just like to mention, on the municipality side,
Uh-huh.
we do talk about how heavy electric vehicles are, fully in support of
Okay.
moving electric vehicles. But especially with like buses, they tear up the streets. So just keeping that in mind, because the vehicles are heavy and you have roads that aren't made to sustain a heavy vehicle.
They can't
So-
sustain regular vehicles.
Well, some of them are concrete,
No,
so
I know, but
the
I'm
major
just saying,
roads,
right.
they're made out of, tougher materials. But for municipality side, and buses really run down the
roads.
side streets very often. So the side streets are not sustained enough to handle the heavy vehicles. And electric vehicles are just heavier than the diesel vehicles that we're currently using. So just keeping that in mind, that the municipalities may want to know that we're moving in that way. So we
Yeah,
can figure out something to
can
do with
reach
the
out.
roads. So we might need some grass for some road.
Yeah, but we can absolutely reach out to all of our different towns and make
Yes.
sure that they are aware of what we're doing.
Okay. Okay, agenda item 9E, board conference attendance. We have 2 board members who request board approval to attend the NSBA National School Board Association's Conference, April 4th through the 6th, 2025 in Atlanta, Georgia. And the board members are Ms. Shane and Ms. Turner.
She didn't say that. I only heard.
I got a question. Who joined that conference?
Yes?
Say that again?
Is it too late to sign up for that conference?
It's not. It was just earlier, and I did register, even though you want to register because I was going to lose a discount, but I couldn't move forward with the other stuff. So yeah, Ben, I could definitely sign you up. Are you
Yeah, that's
signing up
fine.
too?
I'm going to Atlanta for that conference.
Okay, anyone else?
Fine.
At Ms. Boykin
And Ms. Davis.
and Ms. Davis.
When we gotta let you know.
Wells. The 4th through the 6th.
I will let you know.
Just let me know.
Definitely let you know.
I mean, because I can register. The issue is going to be the hotels, though, because those hotels fill up. Because really. So that would be the issue.
Marriott.
April 4th through the 6th, that's after the election.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay. So, just so the board member, I'm gonna modify this and I'm gonna take out the 2 and I'm just gonna say board members. And so then the board, according to our policy, needs to vote to approve board members going to a conference. So that will
Okay, so can we have a motion to approve board conference attendance?
So moved.
For the, moved by Ms. Shane, second by Ms. Davis. Roll call, please.
Ms. Boykin,
Yes.
Mrs. Burton,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Shane,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells.
Yes.
Okay, and don't forget, we do conference reports afterwards if everyone doesn't go. Okay, and I think that was one of our goals. Yeah, well,
I know, but then we said it has to be after, we can't
right,
hold
afterwards.
on 2 or 3 months
That's right,
to do a report.
That's right.
Because Ms. Wells. won't
that's
have
right,
it.
right.
Yes.
So we need to do it, and it
Yes,
needs to
we
be
will-
timely.
we will put it on
It
the
needs to be
agenda
timely,
for-
right,
to be
a
timely.
timely report.
Yes.
That's right, I agree. Okay, no problem. Agenda item 9F, the ASA conference. Dr. Hill, you're requesting approval for attendance at the ASA School Superintendents Association National Conference, March 6th through the 8th, 2025 in New Orleans, Louisiana for professional development.
Yes, this is the annual conference for the Superintendent's Association.
Any questions? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by, did I have Ms. Boykin or Ms. Turner? Okay, moved by Ms. Boykin, second by Ms. Davis. Roll call, please.
Ms. Boykin,
Yes.
Mrs. Burton,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Shane,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells.
Yes.
Okay. We have our administrative reports, and they are focusing this month on social and emotional learning, and we have the report in front of us, and if we have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, the report is there. Any questions from our board members?
I have a question. How did we do with the audit on December the 12th?
We did fine. We have not gotten the final report from the overall compliance audit, but we did get the portion that is the health, life, safety visit, and we did get a perfect score for that.
Oh, good.
So we will receive the rest near the end of January for the rest of the compliance audit. And there are some additional things that they will give us credit for now that the board has completed the board policy customization. And so, but we should get a report for that by the end of this month.
Any other questions, board members? Superintendent's report, Dr. Hill, do you have anything for us?
Just that we have not had any new FOIA requests since the December meeting. And nothing else to report. We'll be in session starting tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Agenda item 11, questions from the floor. Any person wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda will be granted 5 minutes to make his or her presentation. Do we have anyone? Very good. Agenda item 12, if there's no further business to come before the Board of Education of School District 151, I'd like a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Ms. Shane, second by Ms. Davis. Roll call, please.
Ms. Boykin,
Yes.
Mrs. Burton,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mrs. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Shane,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Ms. Davis, did you do that? It has my name in it. I have one. And this is first too.
This is yours. Uh-huh.
You have? Did I give it to you last time?
Yeah, matter of fact, I got it.
No, just, I'm gonna send it to you. I'll send it to you now, right? I'll send both.
Yeah, sign, yeah.
How about it? Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is, yes.
Plugging it into,
You're right.
It's gonna be some hard work. In a year. That's what changed the time. A year. We got a year to move the stuff that's up there.